The 2025 NBA playoffs broke records, highest viewership in 25 years. And it wasn't because of highlight reel dunks or 150-point scoreboards. Game 1 felt like we cracked open a time machine and landed in the 1990s. A bruising defensive stand sealed it. Fans went wild. It was gritty, physical, and raw. And people loved it.
Puts it in! The finishing touches!
After a decade of three-point fireworks, this postseason hit the brakes and threw it back. Hard-nosed defense, post play, mid-range assassins. It's not just a vibe, it's a shift.
Big-time plays! Big-time plays!
Let's break down the top 5 reasons this year's NBA playoffs look like we time traveled. Yes, we know as playoffs pick up, everyone seems to want it more every possession. But what we saw was the return of the bad boys defense. The Boston Celtics clamped the Orlando Magic to just 89 points in Game 1. A defensive clinic that felt straight out of the bad boys Pistons playbook. Across the league, teams weren't just playing defense. They were embracing it. In a modern NBA designed for offense, it was defense that started stealing the spotlight. Despite 2 decades of rule changes, which mostly everything seemed to favor the offense, playoff basketball told a different story. The whistle loosened. The game got rougher. Since 2010, fouls per 100 possessions have jumped from 22.1 in the regular season to 24.3 in the playoffs. Teams adjusted.
To face.
Loading up on lockdown specialists built for postseason wars. Drew Holiday's Game 1 performance was a masterclass. He bullied Paolo Banchero into a brutal 6 for 21 night, using body positioning and timing, not just brute force, to wreck Orlando's rhythm. It was classic. Think Dennis Rodman with a calm handle and a chessboard in his head. The stats back it up. Playoff defenses this year allowed 4.2 fewer points per 100 possessions than in the regular season, the biggest leap in 15 years. Offensive efficiency dipped from 115.3 to 110.8. Three-point shooting fell by 3.5%. Every shot was a fistfight. Old school schemes came roaring back. The Knicks and Pistons looked like they were plucked straight out of their glory days, back when physicality wasn't a tactic. It was a philosophy. Bodies were flying. No layup came free. If you got to the rim, you paid the toll in bruises. It wasn't just defense, it was intimidation. Controlled chaos.
Inside is foul. And they're going to look at that one as Clark went down. Draymond.
Forget switching everything and chasing shooters. This was man-to-man, chest-to-chest. Welcome to the Thunderdome basketball. And it worked. In a league built for speed and space, these teams brought the violence back to the paint. And fans couldn't get enough for years.
Picked up, Hardaway, 2 seconds left, puts up the shot, no! And the game is over!
The NBA tried to tell us the post-up was dead, that big men were fossils in a three-point jungle. Then, Nikola Jokic walked in and reminded the league, you can't space your way out of muscle. Denver took Game 1 behind Jokic's all-around brilliance. Now the Clippers came swinging in Game 2 and Game 3. Can the big man keep the Nuggets steady and impose his will again? By the time you watch this, we might already know. But what's undeniable is this. The big man is not gone. He's just getting meaner. No team embodied the throwback big man ethos this postseason like Cleveland's Evan Mobley, who just won Defensive Player of the Year. He isn't loud. He's lethal. He protects the paint like it's sacred ground, switches onto guards, and runs the floor like a forward. His mid-post game has shades of Chris Webber, and his ability to face up, pass, and finish makes him the Cavaliers' quiet engine. Alongside Jarrett Allen, the Cavs bring double trouble. They've turned the lane into a no-fly zone, and every offensive possession feels like a step into a forest of limbs. And let's also talk about Minnesota, where Rudy Gobert has turned back the clock. No threes, no flash, just pure interior dominance. He's blocking everything that breathes near the rim and making the paint a war zone. When Rudy's in the middle, you feel it. Literally. He doesn't stretch the floor, he shrinks yours. Now, out in Oklahoma City, Chet Holmgren is rewriting the job description. Stretch the floor? Check. Block shots? Absolutely. Handle the ball and run the break at 7 feet tall? Why not? Isaiah Hartenstein gives OKC a classic edge. No flash, just old school hustle. Rebounds, screens, hard fouls. He's the kind of guy that doesn't show up on posters, but wins possessions. Even the Houston Rockets, long known for their all-in embrace of analytics, are starting to lean into old-school toughness. In Game 2, they gave the Warriors more than they could handle, grinding them down, tying the series and proving that they've got more than just youth on their side. The Rockets may be rebuilding, and they're doing it with an edge, not just a spreadsheet. Hold on to your hats, Warrior fans. Things could get ugly. These aren't just bigs. They're rim-owning tacticians in size 18 armor. What ties them all together is this. They're bringing back the dirty work, mic and drills, drop steps, shoulders through chests. Forget pick and pop finesse. This is deep seal, back down, punish the help defense basketball. In this postseason, teams with bruisers and ballers in the paint, they're rising. Teams built only for speed, they're getting ragdolled. The big man never disappeared. He just went back to the gym and got meaner. For years, analysts buried the mid-range jumper like it was an outdated relic. Inefficient, they said. Then the playoffs hit. Defenses tightened, and suddenly, that soft spot between the arc and the rim looked like the promised land. Jimmy Butler's 38-piece in the play-in reminded everyone why the mid-range still matters. Elbow jumpers, pivots, floaters. He cooked defenses in that forgotten zone. And when the whistles went silent and free throws dried up, it was those mid-range buckets that kept the Golden State Warriors alive. Kawhi Leonard, before the injuries, showed why he's still one of the deadliest mid-range assassins in the game. His pull-up is pure punishment, cold, mechanical, unstoppable. He doesn't beat you with flash, he beats you with fundamentals. And of course, you got Jalen Brunson. He's turned the elbow into his personal office. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander dances into space with an old soul's game, stopping on a dime, rising smooth and finishing with flair. These guys aren't living by the three, they're living in the gaps where defenses give just enough daylight to bury you. Meanwhile, there's teams stuck in the analytics loop that keep jacking threes even as their percentages drop. Over the past 5 postseasons, league-wide three-point accuracy fell from 36.1% to 34.6%. Defenses chase you off the arc. Bigs close off the rim. What's left? That inefficient shot the numbers crew tried to erase. And here's the kicker. Teams shooting over 45% from mid-range in the playoffs win 63% of their games. Fall below that mark, and your odds dip to 41%. The mid-range isn't a lost art. It's a hidden weapon. And the players who master it, they're the ones closing out games when the lights burn hottest. The era of assembling super teams through blockbuster trades and free agent signings is being challenged by franchises that prioritize development, chemistry, and strategic planning. Oklahoma City Thunder exemplify this approach. Led by Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, they've constructed a formidable roster through smart drafting and player development. The addition of Isaiah Hartenstein in free agency has bolstered their front court, giving them a physical edge alongside Chet Holmgren, who's playing like a 7-foot Swiss Army knife. They didn't buy their way to the top, they built it, brick by brick. The Cleveland Cavaliers have also embraced a developmental strategy. With a core of Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, Jarrett Allen, and all-star guard Donovan Mitchell, they've built a team that balances homegrown talent with seasoned leadership. Mitchell brings the scoring punch and playoff pedigree, while the rest of the squad adds defense, unselfish play, and long-term cohesion. Their patience and commitment to growth are paying off. This isn't just a good team, it's a team built to last. The New York Knicks, while making a splash with the acquisition of Karl Anthony Towns, have fought to maintain their gritty identity. Gone are glue guys like Hartenstein, but Jalen Brunson continues to lead with poise, and he brings all the heart and hustle that defines New York basketball. They weren't built in a lab, they were pieced together with purpose. The real takeaway? There's more than one way to build a contender, but the teams going deep all have one thing in common: chemistry, identity, and a willingness to get their hands dirty. This postseason didn't just flip the script, it ripped it straight out of a time capsule. Physical defense is back, Big men are banging in the paint. The mid-range jumper refuses to die, and the teams built with patience and purpose are outlasting the ones built overnight. We didn't just watch games, we watched a philosophy return. One forged in sweat, bruises, and unselfish ball movement. One where chemistry beats contracts and effort trumps analytics. The stars of today, they're blending the old school with the new. Footwork like the 90s, vision like the 20s. Now I know what you're saying. They always step it up during playoff time, but this feels different. Toughness that doesn't show up in a box score, but win games when it matters most. Maybe this year isn't a revolution, maybe it's a reunion, with everything that made basketball beautiful in the first place. And while we don't know how this story will end, one thing's certain, it's going to be something worth watching. Because the game didn't change, it just came home.